As close as you'll get to a Hollywood blah. As close as you'll get to a Hollywood blah. As close as. Today we're going to do spoiler-free book review of Leviathan Wakes. First things first, as of today, the 10th anniversary edition, I don't know, of Leviathan Wakes came out. This is pretty. This is pretty. I like special editions. I like pretty books. I like books in general. Anyway, I'm not so sure about the pink. Boy, this is a lot of pink. Let's just... Woo! Can you see this? Does this being captured? Although the inside's pretty awesome. But the inside's like the original cover, actually, as a matter of fact. It looks like, you know, a book would look if it cost money. As opposed to the free books that you get. I feel like it's trying to mimic Dune. And it's pretty, and its reflectiveness, and its little colored pages, and it's no Dune. It's just, I'm sorry, this is the prettiest book I've ever seen in my entire life. And when you take the book jacket off, it says, "Fear is the mind killer." That's neither here nor there. This is actually a very nice book. It's very pink. That's not why we're here. We're here for a review. Look, I just want to say up top, this is a good book. This is a very good book, because there's going to be some criticisms as this goes on, and actually as we get further on down the series, there's going to start to become some much bigger criticisms. But as of right now, I must say this book was fantastic. It's just excellent. It's not perfect. We'll get to that. One of the most impressive, if not the most impressive thing about this book, it is consistently written and consistently paced. And not only is it consistently paced, it is breakneck on the pacing. It just clips right along and it doesn't stop for anything or anyone. It just kind of boom, 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 boom. Real good steady pace, and it never falters, not once, as far as pacing's concerned, which was shocking. I'm not used to that. Consistency of the quality of the writing. Where it sets it is where it stays. It doesn't dip for any reason ever. Now it doesn't kind of peak either. And I say that because the writing isn't great. The prose is extremely average. This is excellent because of its consistency, but that doesn't mean it's consistently excellent. Does that make any sense? Okay. But seriously, it sets the writing style at about average, and then it just drives that. But it never dips, or ever, for any reason whatsoever. It's the most consistent thing I think I have ever read. But it's also, it can be bland because it never dips and it never peaks. I don't want to say dumbed down, but maybe a little. The writing style's very flat. I'm trying not to make it sound bad. You would not read something and go, "Oh, I think that was done in the style of The Expanse." Never, because there is no style to The Expanse. It's the most devoid of style thing I think I've ever read, which could be a bad thing, but it also makes it super accessible, because style's not always a great thing. There are certain books that have very much so have a style, and that style very much so puts people off. Also, if you're really looking for something with a bit of flair to it, in the way that it's written, in the words that they choose to use, it's not there. It's the most vanilla thing you're gonna find. But the mystery's good. It's not gonna blow your mind. It's nothing that's gonna break you by learning the secrets. The implications of the mystery are fun. The implications are big. The implications are far-reaching. So that in and of itself is going to keep you going throughout the story. Now, the characters in this book are something else. Okay, so if you were to get into the specifics of the characters of this, Miller's just the best. He's the best character by a long shot. He's interesting, he's dynamic, he's flawed, extremely driven, maybe not the most pure motivations, there we go, that a character could have. He's got the most interesting arc throughout the story. As a character, he is the one that you want to read, the one that you want to get back to. Holden. Now we have Holden and his crew. Everything about them, for better or worse, feels just a little generic. Holden feels a little generic. Naomi, Alex, and Amos. Alex and Amos have names that are so close, and their characters are so maybe not that awesome. I don't know. There's just, for a long time they'd be like Alex or Amos, and I'd be like, they might as well have been interchangeable for a while. They get to the point where now Amos is a character. Alex is still kind of like a placeholder name sometimes, like insert generic character here. If you're reading The Expanse, it's probably not for character development. That's what I'm getting at here, unless it's Miller, because he was actually a very good character, I think. But other than that, across the board in this book, the crew of the Rocinante, they're just kind of bland. They're bland and they're boring, and they're not great characters, and they're not fleshed out. Well, when they are fleshed out, well, I find myself not caring. It's just so they're just so stereotypical. It's like every science fiction show ever has had this crew on this ship. It was like copy-paste of every crew ever from throughout time. And then maybe that's why it's so popular. Maybe that's why it so quickly became a show, and the show so quickly became a hit. It's like why television has been serving up the same 5 shows for the past 50 years, and people just keep eating it up because that's what they want. Now that leads into as close as you'll get to a Hollywood blockbuster in book form. And there is no better description of these books than that I've heard yet, period. Because it's true. A lot of books try to write a blockbuster and sound and in your head and in your mind, your mind's eye, whatever, create that feeling of watching a huge blockbuster event while you're reading it in the book. And The Expanse nails that. If you want the experience of watching a big blockbuster show or movie, sci-fi event, the spectacle of that event, but you want to read it in a book, go grab The Expanse. It will probably be your favorite book series of all time. If you're looking for a little bit more of the heady side of book reading, things that kind of twist you around and make you think, or on the other side of that, if you're looking for the unpredictability of books, where authors of books get to do things that you don't get to do in movies because movies have to feed it to the mainstream, whereas books can kind of sidestep some of that. Anyway, so if you want a story that takes risks and steps outside of, kind of really throws a curveball at you, like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming, that's not this. That's not, maybe you should stick with the other books. Maybe you shouldn't read The Expanse. But if you want that real blockbuster feeling, I feel like I'm reading a huge blockbuster spectacle of a movie in the palms of my hands right now, then this is it. So, very fun, very enjoyable, little flat on characters. I'm gonna say, honestly, 7.5 out of 10. It's definitely above average book. It would be just average if it weren't for just shockingly, I can't say it enough, shockingly consistent pacing and writing. Very well done. Good Good job, guys. If this is what they set out to make and it feels like it is, then you nailed it. And I think that's what happened. I think they knew what they wanted to make, they went out to make it, and they made it. And they didn't fuck it up. And I think that's how this went. I'm not positive, but that's the feeling I get. And good on you, 7.5.